Degrees are signals of skill, but increasingly they're really becoming signals of class. And that's a much more uncomfortable conversation to have, I think, because yes, degrees still represent knowledge, but they also kind of like represent something else. They represent time, they represent money, they represent stability, they represent support. Think of like what it actually takes to finish a degree. You need financial ability to stay enrolled. You need enough stability in your life to show up consistently. You need access to guidance, whether that's professors, advisors, or parents who understand the system. Students whose parents went to college already know how to navigate office hours and internships and networking and, course selection. I am a college professor. My daughter will be equipped with lots of knowledge when she goes to college, if she goes to college. Other students are trying to figure all of that out from scratch. So when you see someone with a degree, you're not just seeing intelligence or skill. You're seeing that they had enough structure around them to persist through the system that kind of like quietly rewards people who already understand it. That doesn't mean degrees don't matter as somebody with multiple degrees, right? Absolutely they do. But we need to stop pretending that they are pure measures of merit because they're just not. The reality is that a degree signals not just what you know, but the conditions you had access to while learning all of that stuff.
I agree. And if we go into the class thing, let's talk about how you rank, the STEAM degrees. You got your lawyers, your doctors, your engineers. Then you get like the people with the super cool molecular microbiologist type stuff. Then you get into the esteemed universities or top 50. Then you got your Ivy Leagues and all this different stuff where people do use it as a class thing. This goes back into when people were arguing last year about money in class and how like they're not tied to each other, but most of the time they kind of are.
I'm gonna say if I know that somebody got a doctorate degree, I am 1000% sure not going to assume that they are low income. I'm not. It's not necessarily that I'm gonna assume that they're, at the highest income level, but I'm gonna assume that they're spending some money to invest in their education. So I can absolutely see the correlation and the relationship between degree and quote unquote class. And if that's all you have, if you're not exposed to anything else and you're more blue collar worker, that might be something that's hard for you to understand.
Yeah, so I did a quick search and it said people with doctorates, PhDs in the U.S. earn an average salary often exceeding $100,000 through $120,000. Though this varies heavily by the field, industry, position, et cetera, frequently paying over $130,000, while academic roles often start lower, $75,000 through $95,000. Top earners can make over $200,000, while others, particularly early career academics, may start closer to $80,000. And if you get into the tax brackets, that's the working class and all the other cool stuff. But yeah, and that's the interesting thing now. I actually am glad that if my kids do decide to go to school, they will not be first-gen graduates.
Because you already did the muscle work and the hard work. It is hard. If you are first gen, it is hard out here, honey.
Right.
It is hard. Even from the smallest things, that I cite this paper right, that I cite this resource right. Am I emailing my professor the right way? It's so many nuances that you just don't think about, that you don't like. You just have to be kind of thrown to the wolves to figure it out.
You want to talk about citing papers? My first
what was your style in college? Most of mine were APA.
So I had to write. What's funny?
I went from straight MLA to only APA.
So it's the opposite. My fine arts teacher really prepared us for college. She made us write our stuff APA format. Her and there's another teacher, but I didn't have to write a lot of papers in high school. Wish I had to, because I felt like I didn't need to source anything if I didn't use it in my.
That's so black of you.
No, if I didn't use it in my writing. I didn't. So for example, I had this paper. I probably can find it right now on my drive. Well, it was like our video game is good for you. So everything I wrote was really
they're good for
opinion
you.
paste.
Yeah.
And I brought up how like initially there was no ratings like Mortal Kombat, ESRB, and then they came in and said mature teen, all the other stuff. But I didn't really have to cite nothing.
Why not?
I was
That
going
didn't
through-
come from your head.
I was going through life experiences, but that's not like a cite was like if I use something verbatim.
It doesn't have to be verbatim. It's the
Back
knowledge
then-
that you gain from that source.
Back then, though,
Yeah.
it was like if I need to cite it
No,
from this.
like if you're doing a quote. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't no quote.
That was my favorite. When it came to writing a paper in college, I used to always open up my papers with a quote to answer the question, whatever the paper was about. I would be like, well, let's just say the paper was about like, is McDonald's good for you? I would open up the paper with a quote on why McDonald's is good for you, or how many people have consumed McDonald's, or something insane. Like that's the type.
I learned to write better in corporate than I did in college.
Nah, I had a professor in college. I thought I was a good writer, and so I got a paper back from her, and she was like, "You're not a good writer."
No, what's funny? What pissed me off was like, my cousin that wrote a couple books at times, so he reviewed my paper. He liked it. My teacher didn't. But the thing was, if you can see that, hey, this person is trying, let them redo it. Like I got like
she did let me redo it. Clock that.
She knew she was wrong. She seen me in the hallway and looked, and she didn't want to even come near me. And she walked the other way. That's how, like, she's the reason why I started off college like so bad. She gave me a bad grade in English, and I'm like, look, I'm expecting you.
Did you take a 098 class?
She was a new teacher.
No, did you take 098 math?
No.
Or English?
Mm-mm.
Because you were smart. Well, for y'all who did, me too. I took a.
No, it wasn't because I was smart. I think, my ACT wasn't super high.
I think I took a 098. I didn't have to take that class, but I know that math was a struggle for me, so I chose to take it because it had like 3 hours a week built in for tutoring. And after I took that, then I was good to go to the next math class or whatever. But I did start lower on that lens. But I did take that class. If you have to take those classes in college, don't feel bad about it. Take the coursework. It'll help prepare you to take the actual class itself and put you on a better predicament than if you would have started off doing something that was more advanced than what your skill set could actually handle. Because I knew for a fact coming in that me and math were not going to get along, that well. And so I was like, well, whatever I can supplement it, if it's 3 hours a week, so be it. And it was just like an hour built into each class. I want to say it was like an hour pre, you can come an hour before class starts and you can redo whatever or ask questions. And we had a great time.
Yeah, I think I started off with the good maths. I didn't have to retake anything. I had to retake one because I didn't have my financial aid squared away the first quarter.
Let's talk. We need to talk about that. Let's go ahead put it on the next week's docket.
Let's
financial aid and all the challenges.
Let's talk about Black people always carrying kids on taxes and stuff. We had to redo taxes, and that kind of stopped me from getting everything. I was only able to start school because it's like, since you have TOPS, we're going to let you stay here. But if your stuff isn't finished by this time, we're going to make you come back next quarter. So that's what made my first quarter so rough. I had a bad computer, learning I would say.
Like, what do you mean? No, what do you mean by bad computer?
I had an Acer that was very slow.
Okay.
It had a bad sound card. I had to plug an external sound card into it. The typing was bad. It loaded up slow.
So it was just not a good.
It got me through school though. But we did have a computer lab. But back then,
you used that for 4 years.
Yeah, I wasn't. No, 3.
3.
I did 3 1/4. I went in September 2010 and graduated November 2013. But back then, I wasn't keen on Google Docs had just got hot. We just started using Google Docs and stuff like that. But it was just so much stuff I wasn't prepared for because it had been years since my mom and I went to school.
I mean, you need a license.
Semesters.
You need a license, and you need to even figure out if you can get a license for free. I figured that out my freshman year. Was that 9 times out of 10, your university has a way for you to get a free Microsoft license for a year. Yeah. At least 9 times out of 10. Yeah,
so I got that, and then it was just that. I think by the time the end of sophomore to junior year, I finally figured out my stride. It just was a lot. It was so hard to come back from doing bad in some of my classes. I had lost my TOPS scholarship. For the people in Louisiana, that's where TOPS pay for your tuition. So I lost that, and my homie Joey was like, hey, fool, once you lose that TOPS, you'll never get it back. He wasn't lying. I did not get TOPS back. And I had to take a couple of easy classes. So I took Reading 200.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading 200 was so easy. I told my little brother, and this is also important, parents
and siblings
or kids, But this is really for the parents. Your child don't know what they don't know yet because they're a child. So what they think they want to do, sometimes they may hate you for it in the beginning, but go with your move and say, hey, I know you want to go to this school. Go to this school close by the house first. You do good here, then we can transfer to there. My baby brother went to tech, and out of all my siblings, I feel like he was the person that probably wasn't supposed to go out to school first. And he didn't really do good there that first year. It's not necessarily hard, but it's all of us did 9 weeks in school most of the time. So in the quarter system, it's kind of like you had the 9 weeks every quarter. So your classes are a little longer, and you're having them like, sometimes like 3 times a week. You have like Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. Then your Tuesday, Thursday classes are super long. Like, it's a lot to take in, especially if you may have some undiagnosed issues or don't know what's going on. Like with me, I already knew back then stuff like geology, please. I had my Motorola Droid at the time. I made it start recording, and I go to sleep. Back then, I'm like, I'm gonna listen back to the lecture, never listen back to it. Now, in today's time, I could throw that bad boy in Loom or something else, transcribe it, break down what it was about. I would pass. So y'all can use AITI Advantage, because the teachers, they don't care about, look, they getting paid regardless where you sleep or stay up. So that was like some of the stuff I kind of had to deal with. And you can say it's immature, but don't make me take a class I don't want to take. Yeah. Sociology was a fun class though.
But I went to a liberal arts school. So that means that you have to take classes in all of these different areas in order to get your degree. Some schools are not like that. But my school was like, yeah, girl, you're going to take an art class. You're going to take an English class. You're going to take a history class. And I did.
Yeah, I had to take all of them. I had to take political science.
Yeah, I didn't take it that far.
Sociology.
I took geology. Why on God's green earth would somebody like me take geology?
I had to take world history too.
I'd rather do that.
I took world history. I didn't have to take, I had to take, what helped me out too by speaking? I think everybody should have to take a speech class.
We had a speech lab, which helped. I didn't have to take a speech class because I could just go to the speech lab and do some similar,
We had to do one where she's okay, script your thing out. Your speech is going to be for like 1 or 2 minutes, and you have to practice, and you have to go there and do your speech.
I had theater too in high school, and I did a monologue. Yeah,
so I was in fine art, so I didn't have to take another type of arts type of class in college because I tested out because it was dual enrollment. So I had that, and I had to do.
Oh, you was a dual enrollment type of dude.
I only had 2 dual enrollment.
But even if you only had 1, you ate down. I never had one.
My little sister is going to go into college like a sophomore or a junior. What are y'all over there doing? It's just over there doing stuff. But yeah, she got so many credits right now. Like, and she clearly is the smartest in the family. She got the highest ACT. She's going to get an academic scholarship. She's probably going to get TOPS, and hopefully she applies to get some other ones. Because she's 18. I'm telling her, hey, apply to all these other schools. See who's going to give you the most money. But she want to go to wherever her friends at. I'm like, all right, just remember, think about what you got to do after that bachelor's, because you're probably going to have to get a master's or a doctorate to do what you're going to do.
That part.
You want to go to wherever you're going to owe the least amount of money. And that's what I told her. And, after I can only tell you, I can't make you do nothing.